Hi, everyone. Welcome to the webinar. My name is Adam, and I'll be your moderator. Today's webinar is all about how Red Canary MDR plus Microsoft Security boosts your defense and unburdens your team. Our speakers today are Alex and Angelica, but I'll let them introduce themselves momentarily. Before we begin, I do want to note just a few things. We are recording today's webinar, so we'll get that out to you as soon as we can later this week. And if there are any questions during the webinar, please drop them into the Q&A section and we'll answer them at the end. Alex, take it away.
Thanks, Adam, and thanks so much, everyone, for taking the time today to learn a little bit more about the benefits of MDR. My name is Alex Spiliotis. I'm a senior manager at Red Canary, and I've been in the cybersecurity world for a little bit now, first as an industry analyst and then as a manager at a SIM vendor.
And I'm Angelica Favor, and I'm a security architect at Microsoft, and I have been in the Microsoft security actually for over 20 years. And I'm so happy to be here with Alex today to talk about this very important topic.
Thank you, Angelica. So yeah, we'll cover a few things today. First, Angelica will talk about Microsoft security vision, how Microsoft sees security evolving, and how Microsoft's product portfolio kind of maps to where security is going. Then we'll discuss a little bit more specifically the benefits of MDR/MXDR. I'll refer to those interchangeably. And then specifically, we'll talk about how Red Canary works with Microsoft to help scale your security program. And with that, I'll hand it over to Angelica to talk about Microsoft security vision.
Awesome. All right, so let's start our discussion with some of the challenges and concerns that we're hearing from our customers. We talked to a lot of our customers, different sizes, different industries, but the one common theme is that we hear that security has never been more critical. Everyone's truly feeling the effects of cyber attacks becoming more frequent and more sophisticated too, as we've seen by some recent large attacks. We also recently published the 2022 Microsoft Digital Defense Report, where we cover a lot of these subjects in a lot more detail. But in the report, we know that the number of ransomware attacks went down in some areas, in some regions, increased in others, but overall, it actually doubled in the demands from the last year. And within that, we see that the cybercrime as a service, which is a growing and evolving threat to customers worldwide, it's becoming a lot to do with that. So now attackers don't necessarily need the resources of a nation state group to be able to cause sometimes catastrophic damage for a wide variety of organizations. We've also heard from customers about the pressures to secure multi-cloud environment. This introduces incredible complexity for security and also for compliance teams. We're trying to make sure that they're securing their identities, their devices, the data, the applications across multiple cloud platforms. In fact, in the same report that I referenced, we note that organizations that suffered ransomware attacks have significant gaps in security operations and tooling. 84% of those that were impacted did not enable integration with multi-cloud environments into their security operations tooling. That's a huge gap. Also, 60% of those that were affected by ransomware did not even invest in any SIEM solution. Another gap we noticed was the lack of an effective response plan. And that's a critical gap that was observed in actually 76% of impacted organizations. That's going to basically prevent proper organizational crisis readiness, and it's going to negatively impact the time to respond and to be able to recover. A typical ransomware attack might look something like what you're seeing here in the picture. Ransomware is typically going to leverage an entry point like a phishing email or maybe a malicious website, or sometimes it's a compromised or insecure device. In this case here, the delivery mechanism was a phishing email, which a recipient has unfortunately clicked on. Then the attacker used a PowerShell script to install a ransomware package, which allows the attackers to begin to cover their tracks and then spread all over the organization. Eventually, through maybe exploring or maybe some credential breaches or maybe a little bit of a privilege escalation, they're able to access data and sometimes infrastructure that they're targeting to exploit for ransom. And what that really shows us is that ransomware really really showcases why siloed approach to cybersecurity is just not going to work. We really need to take a comprehensive approach that's going to deliver integrated prevention, detection, and response capabilities across the security layers. And that's what we target with our Microsoft SIEM and XDR solutions. They provide the protection across the entire kill chain so that users, devices, applications, and data can all be kept safe. Okay, so many people already know, but in case you don't know, Microsoft is the largest cybersecurity vendor in the world. We manage and defend 4 of the world's largest public clouds. That's Xbox, Microsoft 365, Azure, and Dynamics 365. We also protect over 1.5 billion assets embedded across the planet. That would be mobile devices, servers, IoT devices, and of course, PCs. And to make sure that we can see not only the threats our clouds and our customers sees, we want to be able to see everything. So we graph the entire internet every day to map out adversaries and their infrastructure. This is really truly an incredible amount of data, and it gives us the industry's highest fidelity picture of the current state of cybersecurity. To give you a little bit more information on our data and how we use it, let me give you some numbers here. Microsoft security products see more than 43 trillion security signals per day. We use this data along with AI, which is at the heart of our products, and it continuously gets trained on the latest signals, and it correlates signals across different connected Microsoft security products to provide that rich context and to catch malicious or risky activities. And of course, we have 8,500 security engineers and researchers that are also very hard at work, digging deeper into unknown signals to determine their true nature. Together, our incredible researchers and engineers, our security products have actually blocked 9 billion endpoint threats, 31 billion identity threats, and 32 billion email threats in one single year. And we built this threat intelligence into the core of our products and our services. So we can provide accurate attack detections that can alert you and defend against the threats in real time. So it also provides you insight into your gaps in your attack surface, and it can unmask adversaries and their infrastructure so that you can see what we see, and then you can fine-tune your own TI and policies. Okay, so this is our SIEM and XDR solutions. Our approach to security is to make sure that we understand both the breadth and the depth of our entire estate, to look at everything that's going on end to end. So our breadth approach is delivered by Microsoft Sentinel, and that's our cloud-native SIEM solution. Sorry. Sorry about that. And our breadth approach is delivered. So I'm sorry about that. I have a little bit of a cold. All right, so let's do this. Our breadth approach is actually delivered by Sentinel, which is our cloud native SIEM solution. That's security, information, and event management tool. And a SIEM solution is not only going to aggregate logs from all over the company, but it's also going to analyze large quantities of data from one place and then search for anomalies and signs of a threat. Okay, And then we have our depth. So the depth is actually delivered through our XDR solutions, and that's Microsoft 365 Defender for SaaS solutions, and then Microsoft Defender for Cloud for our PaaS and IaaS. So that's for platform as a service and also infrastructure as a service. Because endless list of alerts from multitude of security point products can make it very difficult for defenders to be able to link all of those effectively and to do so at a speed that is needed to be able to contain that threat. With our XDR solutions, we deliver intelligent, automated, integrated security to close those gaps in prevention, detection, and response. And then as well as taking the breadth and depth approach to our security, we apply Microsoft's incredible breadth of data, that those trillions of signals that I was talking about, to these security products to drive faster insights with a greater accuracy using machine learning. And we tap into the knowledge of those thousands of world-class Microsoft researchers to be able to help understand those new macro trends across the landscape, as well as unique attack and anomalies. Okay, to dig in a little deeper into Sentinel, which is one of my favorite services, Microsoft Sentinel is scalable, it's cloud native, and it's a true security, information, and event management system. But it's not just the SIEM solution, it is actually also a SOAR solution. So that means security orchestration, automation, and response solutions. So you have two solutions in one. And then with that threat intelligence, so those behavioral analytics all integrated together. So you're able to collect and analyze data across your entire organization at cloud scale. So you will often hear us say that we haven't met the data source, that we haven't been able to ingest into Sentinel. And that's because it's true. There's always a way to ingest the data and how to make it easier for SOC analysts to be able to prioritize. And it's truly a real modern SIEM solution that is able to collect all this data at cloud scale across all users, devices, applications, and also infrastructure. And that's both on-prem and on multiple clouds. It can detect previously undetected threats, and it can also minimize false positive using our powerful threat intelligence. And it can investigate threats with artificial intelligence. There's a lot of AI used within Sentinel that is going to make it easier to prioritize. And it can also help you respond incidents rapidly with our built-in SOAR solutions. Microsoft Sentinel helps to reduce the noise from legitimate events with built-in machine learning and knowledge based on the analysis of those trillions of signals that I mentioned earlier. This allows security analysts to be able to focus on what matters most. It also includes built-in UEBA, part of that AI that I was talking about, which is user entity behavioral analytics, which is going to help you to identify anomalies, and then it's going to extract behavioral insights for threat hunting and for detection. Traditional SIEMs are typically expensive to own and to operate, and they often require a lot of upfront commitments while incurring high costs for infrastructure as well, and for data ingestion. Microsoft Sentinel has no upfront costs. You really do pay for what you use. Additionally, you can ingest data from Microsoft 365 audit logs, Azure activity logs, alerts from Microsoft threat protection solutions at no additional cost. And I also want to share a few of the numbers from the Total Economic Impact Report of Sentinel, specifically from Forrester Consulting, in which companies saw some significant improvements. They saw 56% reduction in management effort for infrastructure and SIEM, because you no longer have that infrastructure to take care of. 80% reduction in advanced investigation labor effort. 79% decrease in false positive over 3 years. 48% less expensive compared to legacy SIEMs, and a 20% ROI over 3 years. Those are significant numbers. All right, so now let's go to the XDR piece. We have Microsoft 365 Defender, which is the one that I said is for SaaS. That's software as a service solution. And Microsoft 365 Defender is fully integrated XDR solution. It provides organizations with the ability to prevent, to detect, to investigate, and to remediate attacks and it's within Microsoft 365, but also other platforms as well. Microsoft 365 Defender automatically is going to detect breaches. It actually automates the analysis and correlation process to turn those siloed alerts into like end-to-end incidents with context, with timelines of how an attack has entered, how it's spread across the environment. It also enables you to proactively hunt across Microsoft 365 data. Microsoft 365 Defender is composed of a few products. Some of them you're probably already familiar with. So from identity protection is covered by Azure Active Directory Identity Protection. It also is covered by Defender for Identity. That's for on-prem ADDS and for ADFS on-prem. And then you have Microsoft Defender for Cloud Apps, which was formerly known as Cloud App Security. That's our CASB, Cloud Access Security Broker. And then for endpoint, of course, we have Defender for Endpoint. Our applications are protected by both Defender for Office 365 and Defender for Cloud Apps, which is the one that I mentioned that is our CASB. For email and documents, they are secured through Defender for Office 365. So all of these wonderful services are all part of Defender 365 and they all work together. Microsoft 365 Defender leverages raw signal data from across your environment. So that's user identity, endpoints, applications, email data, collaboration tools, and it normalizes that data at the point of creation. That data is then analyzed and low-level signals that may otherwise be missed, as well as individual alerts that are all fused together into incidents to give you a complete view of an attack that can be responded to in its entirety. Okay, and then we have the other leg of our XDR solution, which is Defender for Cloud. So this would be for your platform as a service and your infrastructure as a service. And it covers Windows and Linux servers, containers, serverless workloads. Defender for Cloud also uses those trillions of signals from Microsoft services and systems around the world to help identify new and evolving threats. Within Defender for Cloud, you have a CSPM, a Cloud Security Posture Management, and you also have Cloud Workload Protection Services. I'm just going to mention a few of our XDR capabilities because the list is long. It protects data services like SQL and NoSQL, cloud data services, servers, IoT. You can also enable preventive protection and post-breach detection for both Windows and Linux servers. You can detect vulnerabilities on applications running in your virtual machines. You can protect Kubernetes container services. You can continuously scan container images in Azure Container Registry for vulnerabilities. And you can also detect and respond to potential threat against data services such as suspicious database activities, SQL injection attacks, also anomalous database access and query patterns. And also the beauty of Defender for Cloud is that it can also protect resources on the 3 major clouds. So that's Azure, AWS, GCP natively, and then as well as on-prem resources. So both multi-cloud and hybrid. Finally, I just wanted to highlight that Red Canary is one of the few partners that have earned the MXDR coveted badge for their MXDR verified solution, which proves their ability to be able to deliver these managed services for our Microsoft security customers. So I'll let Alex tell you more about these services and what they offer.
Sure. Thanks so much, Angelica. And just to kind of restate a lot of what Angelica said, Microsoft really is the leading cybersecurity technology vendor. For each of the points Angelica made, I'll additionally add just from Red Canary's vantage point. We know that customers are looking for integrated technology solutions, really moving from solely a best of breed product mindset to a more integrated platform mindset for their security products. And Microsoft is really one of the only places, if not the only place, where you can get best of both worlds. So if you look at the number of leader positions in industry analyst reports, product by product, Microsoft is kind of leading the pack in almost every product evaluation that we see. Additionally, 365 Defender and Sentinel really work well together. 365 Defender is on its own a really well integrated kind of XDR platform, but works really well with Sentinel and Defender for Cloud. And just lastly, we haven't mentioned licensing, but the Microsoft E5 license really allows organizations to get the best price per security workload or security product that they can find on the market. And that extends to not just security products, but IT products as well. So, Microsoft does provide premium security technology, but if you're on this call, you probably know that just buying the technology doesn't give you the security outcome or the security result right off the bat. And Red Canary works with a lot of different customers, many of whom use Microsoft, and kind of taking Microsoft technology out of the picture and just looking at issues we see our customers face. There are a few impediments that we commonly see to our customers, before they work with Red Canary, getting the most out of their security technology. And kind of the first issue that we see is talent shortages at security organizations. So that's both a shortage of headcount, just not being able to continuously staff a full cybersecurity team, and a shortage in terms of expertise. So to the first point, just maintaining a full security team, it's not news at this point. There's hundreds of thousands of open cybersecurity positions in the country that in the US that continue to go unfilled. I mean, it's really hard to maximize the value you get from any security product if you're always kind of understaffed just in terms of the number of bodies you have on your team. And the next point is that many teams just don't have the in-house expertise to be able to maximize value from their security products. That could be both just experience with a given security technology. Every business software product takes some time to ramp up to get the most value from, but also even more so just security expertise. So things like detecting advanced threats, doing efficient investigations that give your team, confidence that the full scope of a potential incident, and responding to and remediating threats quickly. These skills are hard to come by. I mean, they require certain aptitudes and a lot of experience that is just in short supply in the market today. The next pain point we see is that organizations are really frustrated and at times demoralized by the number of alerts they get from their security products. And on a product by product basis, each product is just doing their job, trying to tell you, the user, when something might be wrong. But it's really hard to have a super high true positive rate. And so what ultimately happens is, organizations have between, 10 on the lower end, up to 50 security products, each sending them, tens, hundreds, often sometimes thousands of alerts per day, in aggregate. It's too much for an understaffed, at times, understaffed team with not enough expertise to wade through every day. And I saw a stat in the last few weeks that I think over a quarter of security professionals had been thinking about leaving the industry over the next 3 years due to kind of the challenges posed by alert fatigue and talent shortages. That's something we really don't want to see. In the subsequent slides, I'll show you how Red Canary kind of helps you overcome some of those challenges. And the last issue we see is lack of 24/7 coverage. So, it is generally prohibitively expensive, with the exception of kind of very large organizations, for an org to have a full-time 24/7 in-house security team. That can run, conservatively, $1 million plus, often, multiple millions of dollars, to maintain a 24/7 in-house team. And most organizations don't have a 24/7 team, yet attackers, we've seen data that it's almost a coin flip as to whether an incident will happen during business hours or after business hours. And to get the most value from the security products that you pay a lot of money to use, they need to be kind of in full force, used by the right people when an incident occurs, and that's not happening. If an organization doesn't have a 24/7 team, if an incident happens after business hours. So the challenge to security leaders is not just procuring the right tools. It's ultimately, how do you turn your security tools into the security outcomes your organization is looking for? And that's where Red Canary comes in. So Red Canary provides 24/7 managed detection and response, or managed extended detection and response. We view those interchangeably. And it kind of in this graphic on screen kind of shows you how it works. But at the highest level, if you're not familiar with MDR, MXDR, just looking at the bold text, in its simplest form, you, the customer, connect your security products to Red Canary. Red Canary leads the threat detection and investigation based on the security data you send us. And then Red Canary guides you through or even performs threat response and remediation for you, kind of leading you through the entire incident lifecycle 24/7. And a little bit more kind of drilled down into the kind of graphic now, starting at the left, we take both security product alerts and raw telemetry, like endpoint telemetry or logs, looking at logs from your SIM. We take that data from your endpoints, your SaaS products, cloud, and network, and we bring that into the Red Canary detection engine. So first, with kind of looking at raw telemetry, the raw data, we have thousands and counting of our own behavior-based detections that kind of tip us off to threats that you may be facing. These are Red Canary crafted, created by our threat research team over the years. They span, endpoint threats, network threats, cloud threats. Our team is always looking at the threats that security products might catch, and then what other threats do we know exist that we need to create our own detections for. So that's how you can think about the Red Canary detections. Additionally, the tools from your the alerts from your security tools, we bring those into our platform. We correlate them with relevant other alerts, with relevant logs and telemetry, and we enrich them to kind of help us more quickly and better assess the scope of an incident. We also have an in-house threat intelligence team that will also help tip us off to whether a behavior might be associated with a threat group or type of ransomware, that helps us kind of kick into gear quickly. When our experts are looking at your data, that they let you know when we find something that merits your attention. So you can a lot of people really appreciate how working with Red Canary kind of removes the noise from their life, kind of the false positive alerts, because we deal with all that for you and only surface to you when an alert or a particular behavior might indicate a threat. When we detect a threat, we make it very easy for you to understand the what happened, when it happened, the evolution of the threat in your environment. We make it easy for more security novices to understand, but also security experts. We have really rich data that we make available to you, kind of in our threat timeline and kind of our threat, our threat page when something happens. And then, we help you respond and remediate. And there are many ways we do this. First, we have automated response playbooks that are very easy to use in the Red Canary platform. Our experts work with our customers to set up playbooks to the extent that they want to automate threat response. We make it very easy for organizations to kind of slowly ramp up with automation, maybe first starting with an intermediate approval stage where the customer has to approve every automated playbook firing before it does, to kind of more comprehensive automation that just happens whenever we detect a threat. Our incident handlers, so our kind of threat response experts, advise your team 24/7 when there's a threat. We don't kind of limit our customers to one type of communication. Some service providers limit communication with the provider to a chat app. Also, will charge for outside of business hours versus in business hours. We have unlimited, ungated access to our experts. And then if you want Red Canary to just take care of a threat for you on your endpoints, our experts will remotely remediate threats on your endpoints as they arise. Now specifically to how we work with Microsoft, you can see on screen here all the products that Angelica referenced as to Microsoft's portfolio and Microsoft Security Vision. We integrate with at Red Canary. We use data, alerts and telemetry from all those tools that you saw earlier in the presentation to help detect threats for you, the customer. And this list is growing very rapidly, both in the number of products that we integrate with, but also the depth of integration, in terms of automated response actions or being able to correlate more and more of your Microsoft data together. And as you see here, we take data from these tools, we provide our own analytics, we correlate relevant data from across your Microsoft and non-Microsoft environment together to understand the scope of a threat. We can help you orchestrate and automate your response, and we provide both guided and active threat remediation for you, the customer. As Angelica mentioned earlier, Sentinel is one of her favorite tools. It's a pretty amazing cloud SIEM product that Red Canary integrates with, and we're pretty excited about the way we integrate with Sentinel because we think it embodies what MDR, MXDR is supposed to do, which is really efficiently deliver detection and response value from your tools. So I'll just go into a little bit of depth as to how we work with Sentinel to protect our customers. So first, Red Canary investigates incidents, from Sentinel's kind of baked in analytics. If you're not familiar with what a Sentinel incident is, it's kind of a group of related alerts based on Sentinel's analytics. When an incident happens, Red Canary will pull it in, and we will investigate all those incidents, but based on Microsoft's, again, baked in analytics for our customers. During our investigation, we will correlate Sentinel data with Microsoft 365 Defender data, with Defender for Cloud data, with data from your non-Microsoft security products. And we do that in our platform. But if our security experts think that there might be a little more value we could glean from actually using Sentinel for threat hunting or querying, our experts can actually pivot into the customer Sentinel environment to run additional queries. This is a really lightweight way that we help you get more value out of Sentinel. It's very fast. It happens during the course of our investigations, but gives you even more confidence that you're getting the value you want from Sentinel. After Red Canary detects and triages a threat, we will update the kind of status of that threat in both Red Canary and in Sentinel, so that the data is congruent between them. Whether you prefer kind of looking at using Sentinel as kind of the main view for your security operations, or you prefer kind of using the Red Canary platform as your main view, you'll see our experts will update both so that they are congruent. And kind of in the future, we will be able to investigate third-party alerts, so non-Microsoft alerts that you may send to Sentinel. Kind of providing the same, thorough investigation and response leadership that we do for all the other product alerts you send to Sentinel, to Red Canary, for third-party ones that you just send to Sentinel that you also want Red Canary to take a look at. And as I mentioned earlier, if you're if you're a security leader or you kind of have ownership over the products that your team uses, you need the technology almost as the potential to get the outcome that you want. But ultimately, if you're looking at a MDR, MXDR provider, you're looking for outcomes. You're looking for that service provider to deliver the outcomes that you want from your technology. So there are kind of there are many positive outcomes from working with Red Canary, but three kind of stand out, as ones that customers cite back to us as really beneficial. So the first is, we will help your team experience fewer false positives and detect more threats than you would without Red Canary. So as I mentioned earlier, security products generate lots of alerts. That's their job, to let you know when something might be wrong or amiss. You send those alerts to Red Canary. You don't look at the false positives. Our kind of advanced analytics and human experts will narrowly weed out very efficiently weed out the false positives. We identify the actual threats from the data you send us. And because, as I mentioned, we write, we have thousands of our own detections that we write to augment the detection capabilities of security products. We generally detect about 5 times as many threats from given security products than the customer would on their own. Another outcome we're really proud of is stopping threats before they matter, and as we sometimes say, stopping threats that matter before they matter. And a really good example of this, we think, is the Kaseya VSA ransomware attack from mid-2021. In short, Red Canary fully mitigated the potential effects of that threat for our potentially affected customers 30 minutes before Kaseya even announced that it was suffering an incident. I mean, the way kind of the mechanics of that were pretty cool. Within 5 minutes of the adversary starting to execute malicious activities, our detections picked up on that behavior, and based on additional information we received from our detections and security products and our proprietary threat intelligence, we associated this behavior with our evil ransomware. At that point, it was very clear to us that something was, there was a significant threat was underway. So we proactively reached out to all our potentially affected customers just to make sure they were aware and that they were taking the necessary response and remediative actions. For our customers who had already kind of set up Red Canary automated response playbooks, that those would have already kicked into gear based on the playbook rules. But for any customers who needed kind of a 24/7 guide until they went from knowing about the threat to having remediated the threat, we were there to guide them and kind of lead them back to safety. And so lastly, we are really proud to deliver dramatically faster response times for our customers because, as is obvious, doesn't do you much good to detect a threat quickly if you can't respond and remediate quickly as well. And on screen here is a illustrative graphic from one of our very large enterprise customers. This customer deployed Red Canary in early Q4 2019. And by late Q1 2020, we had reduced their mean time to respond by 10x. And this customer leaned very heavily into our simple, easy to use automated playbooks, which was a big contributing factor. But we also, again, our experts were there 24/7 to guide them through any response and remediation that they needed help with. And I just wanted to note that Red Canary does not provide kind of special bespoke Red Canary for bigger customers. it's the Red Canary platform and Red Canary MDR that delivers these types of results for organizations of all sizes and across industries. And so as we talked about earlier, organizations are looking for outcomes when they were trying to partner with an MXDR provider or MDR provider. And just you can take my word for it, but also you can look to industry analysts and kind of our customer case studies. Starting on the bottom left, we're really proud to have been one of just a few leaders in the Forrester Wave for Managed Detection and Response in 2021. But also just looking to the quantitative improvements and outcomes that our customers cite. This gets us super excited as well. At the top, so looking to the CoStar group, within 30 days of deploying Red Canary and partnering with Red Canary, we reduced the CoStar group's mean time to respond by 50%. And as Grover, as the quote from Grover shows at the top there, they view Red Canary as their security operations center, and they view our service as invaluable. Looking to the bottom now, so this is a quote from Terrence Jackson, who was the CISO of Thycotic, but now actually works at Microsoft. So funny enough, Terrence and Thycotic was using or were using Defender, and they were in general seeing about 55 alerts per day from Defender when Terrence was at Thycotic. After partnering with Red Canary, and again our looking at those Defender alerts and for Thycotic determining if an alert was pertinent or not based on other data we had, we ended up passing to Thycotic about 1 Defender alert per week to consider. And in many events, if Thycotic had employed our automated response playbooks, it wouldn't even be kind of raising the alert to Thycotic's attention. It would be Red Canary telling Thycotic, hey, you received this alert from Defender, which we investigated, and we determined, and we took these response and remediative actions, just wanted to let you know. So as another customer put it, kind of putting a bow on, an alert or an incident for our customers. I mean, I love the quote from Terrence that, describing it as really a set it and almost forget it relationship. We think that's great because Terrence and his team in that situation can focus on really the business specific risks, while Red Canary is kind of in the background doing a great job kind of working on the more macro level, widespread risks and incidents. So, we're proud to both be kind of in a set it and forget it relationship like you see with Terrence, but also really intimately working with our customers like we do in the case of CoStar Group. And a few kind of qualitative comments on Red Canary to end it, based on just having reviewed some real quantitative improvements. This is a quote from Will McCann at Schumacher Homes, which is a custom home builder based in the Midwest. And Schumacher Homes did not have a dedicated cybersecurity team. It was just Will and one of his colleagues. They knew they needed help. They had good technology in place, but they knew they needed help actually getting the most value from it. In describing Red Canary, Will said it feels like they're working directly next to you, and it's like adding a full security team of 5 to 10 people. And that's super exciting. We want our customers to feel like we're their ally. They're kind of 24/7 ally, always there to improve their security operations and help them in their times of need. And another quote, this time from a very different organization. So this is a quote from Ansys, which is I believe, publicly traded company. It's a engineering simulation software company. And Dave actually had an in-house response team. So more well-staffed than Schumacher Homes, but still saw a ton of value from partnering with Red Canary. And he said, when it's go time, they're not going to panic. They're going to execute in a very disciplined manner. That's what you need on a response team. And it's referring to Red Canary. So I think it's interesting that, again, we provide a a lot of value for organizations from, two IT people who share security ownership to a publicly traded, larger software company that has its own response team, but still sees a lot of value from partnering with Red Canary. So that does it for the presentation. Thanks very much. We'll get to questions shortly, but Adam, I believe, you want to launch the poll now.
Yeah, thanks, guys. So while we do prepare for Q&A, please take a moment to answer the poll question on screen. Let us know if you'd like to access either of those documents or if you want to schedule a custom MDR demo for your organization. I did see we got a couple questions. So Alex, whenever you are ready.
Yep. Yeah. So keep the questions coming. These are great. First question is, what makes the Red Canary event response times faster than other solutions? We haven't benchmarked our response times versus other service providers, so I can't compare. But what I'll say is what leads to the dramatically faster times that we provide our customers than what they had previously is generally a combination of our human experts helping customers in real time, but also the work that our experts do setting up automated response playbooks for our customers. Because if you at a certain point, if you know that something is a threat, you should contain it and remediate it as quickly as possible. There's sometimes apprehension, understandable apprehension with customers about automating response, because automation at scale run amok is pretty scary. But we don't put any pressure on our customers to do that. You can automate using our playbooks as much as you'd like. But even just automating very simple processes, goes a long way to driving faster response times for our customers. So thanks for that question. Let's see, one other question. So the difference between kind of MSSP, MXDR, and MDR is like acronym soup per usual in the cybersecurity industry. But so I guess at the highest level, one way to think about it is that, MSSP means managed security service provider. MDR and MXDR are security services, right? So they are managed security services. But kind of what led to MDR kind of arising was because historically MSSPs, legacy MSSPs, put a much bigger premium on kind of monitoring technology and actually the technology working, like making sure your SIM is tuned, or that you've updated the latest version of your SIM, getting it, deployment, that type of value. Historically, MSSP is indexed much more to that than actual security expertise. So over time, lots of legacy MSSP customers got pretty frustrated with paying a security service provider to not really be able to help them when they're undergoing a security event. A lot of times it would just be the MSSP sending alerts back to the customer. So just the customer partnering with the MSSP, so thinking that they'd take care of their alerts and let them know when something matters, but just the MSSP sending all high severity alerts back to the customer without any additional value. What came out of that is MDR, of which Red Canary is a pioneer, and we view MXDR as the same thing. Basically, our service takes data from your relevant security tools, and actually the goal is to deliver the security value, not to update versions of your products and that type of thing. We are laser focused on getting you security value from the products that are already in your environment. So that's kind of a way to think about the difference between kind of legacy MSSPs and then MDR, MXDR providers. Okay, one other question. So explain the security experts at Red Canary a little bit more. So you can think of our cyber incident response team, our CERT, as kind of comprised of two different types of security professionals. We have detection engineers, and we have incident handlers. So the detection engineers are the folks who are not L1 or L2 security analysts. We actually do not staff that level of security analyst at Red Canary. Everyone is kind of L3 or above. So that group of detection engineers is responsible for reviewing the alerts from your security products to determine what might indicate a threat and what might not. Investigating the threat. So based on maybe one needle in a haystack, looking at the broader array of data you receive, Red Canary is receiving from your security organization, and better understanding the threat and the scope of the threat based on that. And detection engineers also write detections. So in addition to kind of doing the triage and investigation, they're based on kind of their knowledge, based on our threat intelligence, their knowledge of customer environments, always writing new detections to catch more bad behavior in customer environments. So that's the detection engineers. When our detection engineers determine that, hey, there's a threat in your environment, that is kind of where the handoff to the incident handler happens. So our incident handling team is comprised of professionals who have thousands of hours of incident response experience. And their job is to kind of help you go from threat happened to kind of fully responded to and remediated, and kind of back in business or with full confidence that the threat has been remediated. So I encourage you to in LinkedIn or LinkedIn's probably better than Google. Put in Red Canary detection engineer or Red Canary incident handler. The resumes on these folks is extremely impressive. These are the people that you want detecting threats in your environment and helping you respond to threats. It's an extremely experienced, passionate about security set of professionals who are kind of doing all the security work on behalf of your organization. Okay, another question, what is the pricing model used for Red Canary services? It's pretty straightforward right now. It's just priced per endpoint. And we, again, even though we provide MDR, MXDR across endpoints, your network products and tools, your cloud infrastructure, in your SaaS apps, we still just price per endpoint at the moment, keeping it very simple for you to scope out a Red Canary engagement and project the cost forward. Okay, I'll give it one more second for any other. Oh yeah, hey, Angelica.
Question in the chat there about if you have a tenant with 5,000 endpoints, can I only buy licenses for 500 endpoints? That was in the chat.
Oh, yes. Oh, thanks, Angelica. I would have missed that. The answer is yes. So you don't have to buy Red Canary for every endpoint in your organization. You can, you can buy a subset, cover a subset of endpoints, and kind of go from there. Okay, I think that does it for questions. First, thank you, Angelica, for presenting. You had a cold and you still crushed it, so very much appreciated. And again, thanks everyone for taking the time to attend today. You can reach out to me if you have any specific questions on LinkedIn, but otherwise, hope this was informative for you, and have a great rest of the week.